So this dude somehow escaped from a high security prison with just a toy gun. So it's 1923. There's this dude. We'll call him Jono. Now, Jono is tired. He's been in and out of trouble his whole life. So he decides to make a change. He joins the US Navy, hoping to find some purpose. Initially, everything seems well. He's working hard, making friends. But a few months go by, and Jono is exhausted. He's tired of being pushed around by his lazy superiors, and ultimately escapes and goes back to Indiana. Now, things are looking rough for Jono. He's struggling to find work. Bills are piling up. So his helpful friend, we'll call him Mr. Single, suggests they rob a local grocery store. Jono agrees. So they approach the owner as he's locking up, armed with a mini hand cannon. They demand cash, but things don't go as planned. Frank Morgan, the store owner, isn't backing down. He smacks Jono with a heavy grocery scale. So Jono and Mr. Single panic and flee the scene. But they get caught by the police and sent to prison. Jono, he's looking at 10 to 20 years and realizes he needs to get his act together. So he pursues an education on the arts of crime. He learns from the best about robbing banks, escaping, all that good stuff. So 8 years go by, and he's given parole. So with this newfound knowledge, Jono wastes no time. With his new gang that he formed in prison, they start targeting banks left and right. And they're really good. Like, they would trigger fire alarms in other areas at the same time of the robbery, so police and law enforcement get confused on where to go. They would swap getaway cars. They would do all this smart, crazy stuff. And it worked. They were making about $40,000 per robbery, which is about almost $1 million today. Now fast forward a few months. Jono gets caught again and is thrown back into jail again. But not for long, because 3 of his mates, they come up with a plan. They disguise themselves as police officers and walk in claiming that they've got orders to move Jono. But things go south when a sheriff tries to stop them and sadly gets fatally shot by the gang. So Jono is out again, but he's caught the attention of this guy. We'll call him Per. Per is an FBI agent and spends the next few months trying to catch Jono. But Jono is just too smart. He's robbing banks again, making millions, living like a king. Things are looking good for Jono. Until a fire breaks out in the hotel the gang was staying at. And in the commotion, law enforcement is called and recognizes the gang and sends them all to prison. Unfortunately for Jono, he gets sent to Crown Point Jail, which is this high-tech, escape-proof sort of jail. But Jono doesn't care. He doesn't plan to stay there for long. So he decides to carve a block of wood into the shape of a toy gun. He colors it black with shoe polish, and then he uses it to sort of bluff his way out using several hostages and actually flees the scene with the sheriff's car as well. Now Per is really angry. Him and the team are getting nowhere. It just seems like Jono is always 3 steps ahead. But then Per gets a phone call from some owner of a lodge. She tells Per that the whole gang is there. So Per's team storm the place. Bullets are sent flying, and somehow in the commotion, Jono and the gang just manage to escape. Now Jono is quite shaken up by the incident, so he decides to do something drastic. He gets plastic surgery done. He changes his nose, and even burns off his fingertips with acid. Now enters this lady. We'll call her Reddy. She was a dancer who met Jono, and they both hit it off and became a couple. But Reddy was getting scared that Jono would get caught. She was an immigrant, so she was scared she'd get deported. Because of this, she decides to help the FBI, and tells Per that Jono was going to be at the Biograph Theatre in a few days. So a few days pass, and Jono is at the theatre. Per and his friends have the theatre surrounded, but Jono doesn't know this. So as Jono leaves, he spots some suspicious men, and it immediately clicks. It's the FBI! So he tries escaping, but they shoot him down. And that's where Jono, at only 31, takes his last breath.